What is up, YouTube? It's VyPr Sports here, and today I'm going to be making my predictions for the 2019 NFL playoffs. The wildcard round starts tomorrow, so I'm going to make my predictions for who I think is going to win each game up to the Super Bowl. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off these predictions, we've got the Indianapolis Colts versus the Houston Texans. Now, I think the Indianapolis Colts are going to win this game because overall, I think they are the better team. In the two regular season games these teams played against each other, the Colts won only one game, but that loss came in overtime when they easily could have won. In addition, Houston's lack of great receiving threats, I know they have DeAndre Hopkins, who is a great receiver. He's one of my favorite players in the league, but lacking players such as Demaryius Thomas and Will Fuller is really going to hurt the Texans in this game. The Colts are a very well-rounded team with some great players on defense, such as Darius Leonard. And on offense, Quentin Nelson, Andrew Luck is having an amazing year, and T.Y. Hilton and Marlon Mack as well. Don't forget about Eric Ebron at tight end, who's a weapon that I don't necessarily know if the Texans will be able to truly defend. So overall, I think the Colts are going to win this game in Houston. For the other AFC wildcard game, we've got the LA Chargers against the Baltimore Ravens. The Chargers are a very well-rounded team and fully healthy with Melvin Gordon and Hunter Henry back. I think they're going to easily win this game against Baltimore. I don't really trust Lamar Jackson at quarterback in the playoffs. The Baltimore defense is great, but I think the Chargers' well-rounded offense and defense will be too much for the Ravens to handle in this game. Heading over to the NFC, the first playoff game we have is the Seattle Seahawks versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to win this game because they are a very hot team right now. No disrespect to the Cowboys, they've had a great season, and I think they have a great future ahead of them with young players such as Leighton Vander Esch and Amari Cooper, but I think that the Seahawks right now are going to be a tough team for them to beat. Chris Carson is a very good running back right now. He's one of the top players in the league at his position. And overall, I like the combination of Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson to win a playoff game more than the combination of Jason Garrett and Dak Prescott. As a whole, Seattle has a great team on offense: Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett, and on defense they have some great players as well. Bobby Wagner is still one of the best middle linebackers in the league, and they have a great player in Frank Clark on the defensive line. Overall, I think the Seahawks are going to win this game. In the second wildcard game, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Chicago Bears. And I don't necessarily think there's going to be as much Nick Foles magic in this game as there was last year. The Eagles are not the same team as they were last year. Their defense has suffered some injuries, and their offense is just not as good, due to the losses of coaching staff members such as Frank Reich and John DeFilippo. The Bears, on the other hand, have an amazing young defense and a good enough offense to beat the Eagles. I'm going to pick the Bears in this game. In the AFC divisional round, the first game will be the Indianapolis Colts versus the Kansas City Chiefs. As a whole, I think the Chiefs are just the much better team here. I think their offense is going to be too much for the Colts to handle, so I think they're going to win this game. In the other game, we've got the LA Chargers at the New England Patriots. This is not the same Patriots team we've seen in previous years. They are not as good, but still the combination of Brady, Belichick in Foxborough in January is a tough one for teams to deal with. But I think the Chargers are up to the task and will win this game. They have a very well-rounded offense and defense, like I've said in the past, and I don't necessarily know if the New England defense will have enough answers for LA's passing and rushing games. LA's young defense as well, with Melvin Ingram, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, and Casey Hayward, should be able to put enough pressure on Tom Brady to be able to win this game. Heading now to the NFC divisional games, you've got the Seattle Seahawks versus the New Orleans Saints. As hot as Seattle is, I think the Saints are going to be able to beat them in the Superdome. Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Mark Ingram create an amazing offense led by Sean Payton as their head coach. Their defense with Cam Jordan and Marshawn Lattimore is nothing to sneeze at either. I think, as a whole, the well-roundedness of the New Orleans Saints should get them the win in this game. On the other side, you've got the Chicago Bears against the LA Rams in LA. I think that's a big point because in the regular season, this game was in Chicago, and Goff played horribly. I do not think he's going to throw 4 interceptions again, and a fully healthy Rams team should be able to beat the Chicago Bears. The Bears' defense is great, but I think the Bears' offense is going to be lacking a little bit, and a fully healthy Rams defense should be able to take care of this. As a whole, I think the Rams are going to end up winning this game if it happens. Now it's time for the conference championship games. In the AFC, you got the LA Chargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This was a great regular season game in Kansas City that the Chargers won 29-28. We have to keep in mind that in that game, they were missing some key players in Keenan Allen and Melvin Gordon. I think because of getting those players back, and players like Hunter Henry and Joey Bosa and other players that have dealt with injuries throughout the season, I think the Chargers are going to win again. Their great rushing and passing offense and rushing and passing defense should be a lot for the Kansas City Chiefs to deal with. And as great as Patrick Mahomes is, he is my personal pick for MVP as of right now. I mean, a 50 touchdown season is great. It'll be a little too much for the Kansas City defense to handle, and then for Mahomes to have to pick up all that and carry this team to a victory. I don't necessarily know if he will be able to. So for these reasons, I think the LA Chargers are going to make the Super Bowl from the AFC. In the NFC Championship, we have the Los Angeles Rams versus the New Orleans Saints. This was a great regular season game that the Saints won. And since this game would be played in New Orleans, I think the Saints have a clear advantage. The Superdome is a very tough environment to win in, but in the NFC Championship game, it will be even tougher for the Rams to get the victory. In addition, the playoff and Super Bowl experience of Drew Brees and Sean Payton should be enough to propel the Saints to a win in this game. The Rams are very good, but they are very inexperienced. And once they get some more experience in this type of situation, I think they will be able to make Super Bowls. Just not right now. So I have the Saints winning this game. And in the Super Bowl, the Los Angeles Chargers versus the New Orleans Saints. This will be a very close game. Both teams are great offensive teams and defensive teams. However, I think the experience of Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and just New Orleans Saints as a whole will be enough to propel them to a Super Bowl victory here. As much as I like Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates and want them to get rings, I think the Saints have the advantage here and will end up winning the Super Bowl. So there you guys have it. Those are my predictions for the NFL playoffs for the 2019 season. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment your predictions down below. I'd really like to hear what you guys think is going to happen in the playoffs. And subscribe if you're new. This has been VyPr Sports, and I will see you guys in the next video.